Hey guys, welcome back to Mini Mindy TV.
Beautiful people, we're all flawed, beautiful creatures.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mini Mindy TV, and in this video I'm going to be telling you about my coming out stories at work. And needless to say, they weren't very pleasant stories, but I felt the need to share my experience because I watched these two lesbian YouTubers named Jamila and Q, and she was talking about how she came out to the CEO of her company, and it inspired me to share my coming out story because it wasn't as pleasant as hers. And sometimes people think like, oh, because you're a femme it's a lot easier because nobody really knows whether you're a lesbian or not. And let me tell you, when people find out, sometimes it could be problematic when it comes to your place of employment because not everybody is going to accept you. So in these two, yes, I said two, situations, I need to share this story because it'll probably help a lot of people that are scared of coming out or are thinking about coming out. And just to give you a little warning to make sure that you kind of sense your surrounding before you actually put your place of employment in jeopardy. So I started working in a daycare center as a lead teacher when I first moved to North Carolina, and it was fun for the most part. I was working in the infant room, so I was dealing with a lot of babies. Most of the time it was a little challenging because the ratio here is 5-1, but I had like 8 babies to myself because the older teacher wasn't there with me most of the time. So needless to say, my days were a little bit challenging, but I tried to spread myself as much as I could. That way I can, get my days of work done. So my girlfriend back then, she wasn't very feminine, so it was easy to identify her as a lesbian because when you see a more masculine identified female, you automatically assume like, oh, she's a lesbian. So in this case, that's what happened. Back then she used to drop me to work on the days where she could, and I guess my coworkers were like peeping out or whatever to see who was dropping me off. So I came into work one day and my day was hectic as usual because I had all these babies and no help. And one of the other teachers came to me from the 1-year-old room and was like, I got a question. I don't want you to feel like you have to answer it because it's your personal business, but is you gay? And me coming from New York City, where nobody cares whether you like monkeys, giraffes, colors, people, whatever, nobody cares about that. I didn't feel like I had to say, well, let me just say, I didn't feel like I had to hide that portion of my life because I've never hidden who I am or what I like or who I like. So I was like, yeah, like I'm a lesbian, thinking that everything was gonna be all cool and great. But then I noticed like the energies and stuff started shifting at my job. And so like one of the ladies that would drop me home, now all of a sudden she didn't want to drop me off because she didn't want to feel like she was entertaining my lifestyle, in her words exactly, or I was going to hell and she didn't want to be on the same boat with me on the way there. So then everything started getting like real shaky. Nobody wanted to work with me. Nobody wanted to be in the same room with me. Nobody wanted to, talk to me like that. So it started becoming like real stressful because I had all these babies by myself. The main lead teacher that was supposed to be there wasn't in the room 95% of the time because she was always doing something else. And it was just real stressful. So then I started like feeling like I needed to separate myself from everybody else because everybody else had already been separating themselves from me. Like, and it was making my job more difficult because I had all these children and I had nobody to talk to, nobody to turn to, nobody to ask for help because nobody wanted to work with me because I was the lesbian. So then I started getting like upset or whatever because I'm like, I'm here struggling with all these babies and nobody's helping me because I'm a lesbian. So it started like draining my energy and my positivity because I've never been in that situation, and I hope that none of you ever go through that because it's draining and it becomes very hard when you feel like you're being discriminated against because of who you choose to love and who you choose to spend your life with. And it's a reality. Like when you move to a different place where, you know, everybody is so Bible written and so godly and all of that, it's hard to say, oh yeah, hey, I'm the lesbian today. It's hard to do that. So like, it's hard for other people to accept and it's hard for you to go through it. So that is what happened in the daycare center, and I ended up quitting because it was just too much for me. It was draining me emotionally, and me, I don't like feeling like I'm neglecting the children that I work with. Like, I love children. Anybody that knows me knows that. And once I feel like I'm stretching myself too thin to where I feel like other children are being neglected, it starts to weigh in. And it was days where like I would come home and literally cry because I knew that these children were being neglected because I couldn't stretch myself any more thin. So I ended up quitting and I started working with this family as a private nanny.